And welcome back, everybody. I just checked the news, and even amidst everything going on, I just thought you should know there's a Greycast coming your way. I am your host for this week, B-Rad, and today we're going to be talking about something interesting. It might make some of you mad, some of you might agree with me, but we'll find out together. I recently discovered a game that has been out for a long time. I never really knew about it. I remember seeing the cover art, having a vague idea about it, never played it, never really knew anything about it, but saw recently that it's available for free on the PlayStation 4 for PSN members, so I figured I'd try it out. The game I'm referring to is Shadow of the Colossus. And on today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about how, in my opinion, Shadow of the Colossus might be one of the most overhyped video games of all time. Today's episode of the Greycast is sponsored by hand sanitizer. Don't be a piece of shit, wash those hands. Just a quick backstory for those of you who don't know. Shadow of the Colossus is a 2005 PlayStation 2 video game created by SCE Japan Studio and Team Ico. It was released in North America, Japan, Europe, and Australia between the fall of 2005 and early winter 2006. Very quickly, the storyline focuses on a young man who goes into a forbidden land with a female. It's never really explained if it's his love interest, if it's his sister, but basically she has died, and he's going to this place to bring her back to life, even though it's clearly forbidden. He gets there, and some type of, god or spirit speaks to him and says, if you defeat the 16 colossi in this land, we will bring this person back to life, even though it is forbidden. It goes against all rules. If you do that for us, we'll do this for you. And you just get dropped right into the game. When the game starts, you have three things. You have a sword, you have a bow and arrow, and you have your horse, whose name I believe is Aro or Agro. Please don't freak out. I don't remember the name. Because like I said, overrated as fuck. But you learn that the sword you have, if you lift it into the sunlight, you will find the colossi you were supposed to go and kill. So you were sent to do this one at a time. It's not open world where you can choose any of the 16 you want. The spirit basically tells you, now you go to this one, and once you do that, now you go to this one, now you go to this one, now you go to this one. So like I said, you're dropped right in. So I was like, okay, here we go. It said press triangle to get on the horse. So I got on the horse, turned him around, went down some stairs, and right away I realized these controls were a little off. I was able to press triangle a couple of times to get the horse to start moving a little bit faster, and then looked up ahead and I saw there was a boulder. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna move the horse to the side so he obviously doesn't run into a rock or I just get stuck there. And as soon as I moved him just a little bit to the right, he basically stopped in his tracks. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I pulled it too hard. Maybe I pulled the reins on the horse and, he stopped abruptly. Okay, fine. I do it again. He basically stops completely. The whole fucking game, where you have to go over long distances to get from colossi to colossi, this horse does not cooperate. If it were an occasional issue here and there, that'd be fine. I would understand that. But the horse doesn't fucking work unless you have him go at a light jogging stance. You would probably get most places easier without the fucking horse. And something happens toward the end of the game with the horse, and it really made me happy. Some of you already know what that is, and you're really frowning upon me, and I really don't give a shit. So when you do get to the first colossi, I will say, I was blown away. I was like, wow, that's a pretty cool design. This is an interesting looking creature. I could immediately feel the tension of, whoa, that's a big ass monster. I gotta take this thing down. How the hell am I gonna do that? And basically with every colossi, they have a type of fur. And you can grab onto that fur and basically climb up or across or down where there is fur on the body. And on the colossi, there are different weak points scattered throughout that when you hold your sword, you see it lit up. You stab those while holding onto the colossi, and you bring the health bar down, 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 until eventually it's defeated. The problem is that, once again, bad controls, that holding on to the Colossi isn't always easy. And I understand that it is a living creature and this thing is trying to shake you off, but basically there are times with certain bosses that you can't even move or are not allowed to move for 15-20 seconds at a time. And you have a stamina bar. So that 15 to 20 seconds is crucial. And you're basically telling me I have to just hold on while this thing does the same shaking pattern over and over and over and over again until it stops for a couple of seconds so I can try and jump to the next point and usually just fall off because even the jumping mechanics are poor. Yes, folks, that's right. The jumping mechanics are poor as well. Sometimes you have to jump from one part of the Colossi to the other, which is pretty cool. Having to jump from his arm to his hand, back down to his leg, up to his neck. The concept is really cool. The controls just don't work. And it baffles me even more that this is a PS4 remake of a PS2 game. And I've heard people say that the controls are a lot better than they were originally. So thank fucking Christ I didn't touch this on the PlayStation 2. I was too busy playing manly games like Kingdom Hearts 2, Shrek 2, Sonic Heroes, edgy games for big boys who stayed up past their bedtime. And sometimes if I wanted to be really crazy, I would play Star Wars Battlefront. I know, I was pretty cool. You don't need to go crazy over it. Let's just get back to what we're here for. So like I said, the controls are horrible on the horse. They're horrible fighting multiple of the Colossi. Not every single one. Some of them went really smooth, which was awesome. You were able to get in, get out, onto the next one. Because basically this is just a boss rush game. That is until you get to the final Colossi. Oh, it's rather unfortunate I don't have some vodka or whiskey in front of me because I am just being brought down. Woo! Jesus Christ. Anyway, you finally get to the last one. You realize, okay, this is it. Once I kill this last Colossi, the girl is going to be brought back to life. And it starts off pretty cool because you obviously, one last time, make your way to this boss on that god awful fucking horse. Come at me, PETA. You can go fuck yourselves too, because this is going to be fucking glorious. In order to get to the final boss, he is like across a big bridge, and there's a huge gap between, the land you're on and where the bridge starts, because it was obviously destroyed at some point in time. So you actually have to get the fucking horse, bring the horse up a couple of flights of stairs, and then within 10 feet, basically get him to go full fucking speed. He jumps over the gap, goes racing across the bridge as it starts to collapse. He fucking pussies out at the last second. You fly forward, and then the horse falls to his death, and it is fucking amazing. It's so fucking good. This might be the one time in my life I saw an animal die. Fictitious, by the way. This is still a video game horse, not a real horse. But I, in my mind, I beat the game. I fucking won at life. I was done. I was like, no matter what happens moving forward, I win. You lose. Sayonara, motherfucker. And then, of course, after that, the final boss is just a clusterfuck of problems with the controls. It starts off really cool. You actually have to sneak underneath him through different tunnels and passageways because he's so powerful that if he just throws his orbs at you, you die basically on the spot. So you have to sneak up on him, which is very cool. But climbing him is one of the worst gaming experiences I've ever had. And I nearly rage quit. I was just so fucking bad. But finally, I got it after multiple tries. I must have fallen off of him 10 to 15 times. And I'm sure there's people out there that are like, oh, well, I got it on the first try. It's just you're not a good gun. Suck my fucking dick, okay? Fuck off. Find a game that has a good fucking story and good fucking controllers, and then come back and suck my dick again. It's cool if kids listen to this, right? It's cool. PG. Anyway. So you beat the boss, game's over. You go back to the start point, and you see a group of people from obviously the town, the city that you're from, they followed you and they were trying to stop you because, long story short, turns out you're the bad guy because you awaken that spirit, and that spirit had previously been broken. His soul was split up into 16 parts to prevent him from ever coming back again. And you, defeating those colossi, restored pieces of his soul one by one. And now this greater being comes to life, takes over your body, tries to kill everyone around you, and you basically get banished to nothing. And right before the main character dies, he looks at the girl and realizes she's still dead. So it's kind of this maybe like Game of Thrones thing where it's you think you're going to get, this ending, I guess a good ending, and basically everything's like, nope, fuck you. Turns out you're the villain. You probably got this woman killed. That's a big fan theory, apparently. And you tried to resurrect her for your own personal gain, and you lost everything. You lost your life, you lost the girl, everything. And just like that, the game kind of ends. The other people that came to stop you flee in time. The bridge to the Forbidden Lands is broken, so no one can either go in or out. And then turns out the girl wakes up. So I was kind of like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. She's just kind of fucked. She's just there on her own forever. And then, I kid you not, for fuck's sake, who shows up but the fucking horse that fell off a fucking cliff that would have killed anybody? The Rock, John Cena, fucking nobody would have lived that shit. And this horse just comes back with a little bit of a fucking limp. But his leg is broken, so in my mind, eventually he's got to get put down. So I'll take what I could get. And I won't get upset. So then the horse and the girl look at each other. The girl seems to recognize the horse seems to recognize her. Unfortunately, they don't do anything kinky. That would have been pretty cool. Then it would have been the game of all games. We'd be having a very different podcast right now. But then the horse kind of brings the girl over to where the guy was sacrificed and died, the main character. Somehow the horse fucking knew where he was. And where there was once a pool of water where the villain, the shadow demon, went into and disappeared, there's a fucking baby with horns. Somehow our main character went from being a main character to the villain to a shadow demon to a little devil baby in about 6-7 minutes. And then the girl picks him up, starts walking through this like castle, and then you see all the animals starting to come up to her like fucking Snow White. Because throughout the whole game, other than some birds flying around and a couple of like lizards on the ground, there is no wildlife. It is just you and that piece of shit horse. So I don't know if they were going for something symbolic, like now life can properly come back here. They're way up their own fucking ass, especially for a 2005 PlayStation 2 game. Come on. So I guess I'll leave it there for now. Like I said, this is just my opinion. There are a lot of people who say this is one of the greatest games of all time. I mean, if you go on Wikipedia, it literally has a link to the greatest video games of all time. It's often regarded that for its minimalist landscape. Like I said, there's nothing going on. There's nothing to do, which is interesting, but I don't like it. I guess I've kind of gotten used to open world games. Like, for example, Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Completely open world. You will find something different at every corner, which is awesome. I will say, not the best, but some of the better boss designs I've ever seen in a game, so it gets credit for that. The music wasn't too bad. It's not the greatest music out there. Kingdom Hearts, Zelda, other games definitely have better video game music, but I'm not going to complain about this. This music was pretty solid. Plot, eh. The end story, eh. The controls, horrible. Horrible. I don't know how to grade this, but if you wanted my advice, download it. It is free. Maybe just don't play it. Maybe just, play Battlefront, play something else. Or, like I said, wash your fucking hands. It's getting crazy out there. This has been fun. This has been exciting. It's always fun on the Greycast. You never know what you're going to get. We'll see what our next podcast is. I'm actually looking to do one with the Big Daddy Gene, the Mean Gene Machine. We're going to do one together soon. And that's going to be a fun topic because that could be a podcast that you might be listening to for 5 minutes or it might be 5 hours. It really all depends on where we start because it's something we both love and absolutely hate at the same time. So keep your eye out for that one. And on that note, we are out.